Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of our story explained for Misao. So if you haven't watched the first part yet, here's your invitation to go check it out. Then come back here to get the complete story of Misao. We left the previous part with the normal ending, with Misao's body being found and her being able to pass on, or so we thought. But at the end of the last video, Misao came back. It seems she had unfinished business with Toma, or bullied her and used her feelings for him against her. We now begin the truth ending. The game opens with Aki, our main protagonist, looking around for something. Misao approaches, indicating that this is sometime before the beginning of the game. Misao asks Aki what she's looking for, and Aki is silently thrilled. This is the first time Misao has spoken to Aki. Don't forget that Aki wanted to be Misao's friend, but she was never sure how to, since Misao was so quiet and stayed to herself. Here Aki tells Misao she's looking for her missing eye contact. As Aki looks up, you can see her eye color is actually different without the contact in. Her eye color is red, just like Onigawara and Miss Library, who are residents of the demonic otherworld. In case you forgot, Aki isn't like everyone around her. It's revealed in the main game that Aki was actually created in a lab in the other world by the crazy, chainsaw-wielding doctor alongside her twin, Akito. While Akito remained in an incubator of sorts in the other world, Aki was released into the human world, so the doctor could see how his experiment interacted with humans. Since Aki has blended in seamlessly in the human world, other than her eye color, it seems the doctor's experiment was a success. Misao decides to help Aki with her search. Aki thanks Misao, remembering how kind Misao was. Aki wonders why something so horrible had to happen to someone so kind. A familiar bell rings as the screen fades to black. A voice calls out for Aki, and Aki wakes up to an unfamiliar place in the other world. It seems Aki's journey isn't quite done yet. As Aki looks around, she hears a voice again, recognizing the voice as Onigawara's, the demonic world's class president. Aki follows the voice, finding free lit shrines in front of her. There, an apparition of Onigawara is waiting for her. Aki is confused why she's in this world again, but Onigawara explains that he wants to offer liberation to the sacrificed souls of Yoshino, Kudo, and Saotome, because while they did horrible things to Misao, they didn't cause her death, and they don't deserve the fates that they met. You may be wondering about Ayaka, but we'll talk about her later. But Onigawara has decided that the other three have suffered enough. It's time to let them pass on. If Aki chooses to save them, their suffering will end, and they will be reborn, earning the chance to start again. Aki begins by placing her hand on Kudo's grave, which transports us way back in the past, when Kudo and Misao were young children. Misao sits on a swing in the park, crying as a bully teases her. Out of nowhere comes Kudo, yelling at the bully to leave Misao alone. The bully, seeing trouble coming, runs off, and Kudo stays to comfort Misao. He pats her on the shoulder as she cries and offers to walk her home so he can protect her. Misao gets off her swing and begins to follow Kudo, but stops herself, thinking about how kind Kudo used to be when they were younger, but that it all eventually changed. Time flashes forward to high school, right after Misao confesses to Toma, which spread rumors around the school that they're dating. Kudo hears the rumor as he walks past a classroom. Later, Kudo is sitting in a class as Yoshino begins to bully Misao in a corner of the classroom. Kudo gets up from his seat, as if to approach Yoshino, but stops himself, turning away as he blames Misao for Yoshino's bullying. That's what happens when you try to date Toma, Kudo thinks to himself, not hiding his jealousy as he leaves Misao to be bullied. Misao thinks again about how Kudo abandoned her, even though she trusted him. She'd never forgive him for that. We're transported back to Aki, who is in a black space. Walking forward, Aki sees dozens of Misao surrounding a crying Kudo. He begs her to stop, pleading for forgiveness, but the Misaos keep telling him to die. Aki walks up to Kudo, telling him to wake up, but Kudo can't hear her. He's drowning in his guilt of not helping Misao when she needed it the most. He loved her, but he put his own feelings over hers, ignoring her in her greatest time of need because he was jealous of Toma, who got to date Misao. Aki tells Kudo to snap out of it. These Misaos are just illusions created by his immense guilt. Would Misao, who was the kindest person they all knew, say such horrible things to anyone? This snaps Kudo out of his daze, realizing that Aki is right. The illusions disappear one by one, until the real Misao appears in front of Kudo and Aki. Misao apologizes, telling Kudo that she doesn't hate him, because she knew how he felt the whole time. Kudo was a coward, but he was also thinking about Misao, and it made Misao happy that someone genuinely cared for her. Misao tells Kudo that she loves him too, before she disappears. Kudo tries to catch her, but she's gone before he reaches her. Kudo cries for Misao as the screen fades to black, leaving Aki to wonder to herself if that was the real Misao or another illusion Kudo had created for himself. Returning to the other world, Kudo's shrine is unlit, and a baby is bundled in front of the grave. It seems Kudo has been able to be reincarnated. Let's see if we can save the other two as well. Next, Aki touches Yoshino's grave, transporting her to the school bathroom. Aki tries to leave the bathroom, but Yoshino is on the other side, holding the door shut. She tells who she thinks is Misao that if she behaves, she'll let her out. Yeah, right. Aki hears a sound from one of the bathroom stalls and approaches it. She can hear Misao inside, crying for help. Aki opens the door, but the Misao inside only says, "Never forgive." But the bathroom door is unlocked, so Aki leaves the bathroom, only to enter another bathroom. This one has shattered glass and bloody handprints everywhere. On the floor is a young Yoshino, bundled in a ball as free Misaos kick her. Yoshino cries for help, and Aki, determining that Yoshino has suffered enough, decides to help her. Aki picks up a baseball bat conveniently hanging out in the bathroom and hits all three ghosts with it, stopping them. With the torture stopping, Yoshino promises to never bully again, and Aki tries to help her stand up. However, it seems Misao doesn't agree with Aki, appearing and asking Aki why she's getting in her way. Aki was Misao's only friend. Aki saved Misao, so why is she doing something that's going to hurt her? Aki is unbothered, explaining to Misao that she is her friend, and that's why she's trying to stop her from doing this further. Doing this is not helping Misao anymore. If she doesn't stop, she won't pass on. Aki pleads with Misao to stop, but Misao isn't ready to hear it, screaming at Aki to stop before she disappears, returning Aki to the other world. A baby lays bundled in front of Yoshino's grave. One more grave. This time, Aki touches Saotome's grave, returning to the bathroom. Misao is hiding in a bathroom stall while Saotome and her friend are at the sinks, discussing Misao's love letter to Toma that was put on the school's bulletin board for everyone to read. Saotome's friend is convinced that it was Yoshino and her lackeys, but we know better. The friend remarks how well Yoshino was horrible for doing that. Misao is also kind of gross. She pities Toma for having to read the note. Saotome just smiles, telling her friend that she thought the note was cute. Misao leaves the stall, and Saotome's friend is embarrassed that she was overheard. Misao seems unaffected though, realizing she forgot her handkerchief. Now she has nothing to dry her hands with. Thank goodness Saotome's there though, because she offers Misao her handkerchief instead. Saotome leaves the bathroom with her friend, but Misao isn't convinced that Saotome put Misao's letter up to humiliate her. And, as we learned in the main story, Misao is right. While Saotome acts sweet to everyone's faces, she humiliated Misao to get with Toma. The scene changes. Toma and Saotome are sitting together outside, and Misao is hiding, listening to their conversation. Toma eats the food Saotome gives him, saying that she'd make a great wife. His wife, of course. Saotome is flattered, which enrages Misao. She refuses to give up Toma, especially not to a girl like Saotome. Misao steps out of the shadows, calling to Toma, who runs to Misao, holding her hands and saying how much he loves her. Saotome watches in horror and despair. Toma was only supposed to date Misao as a joke, but now he's saying that he loves her? Misao laughs, telling Saotome she was the only joke the entire time. Saotome watches in horror as Misao and Toma kiss, but Saotome isn't the only one watching. If you check one of the trees, you'll find Miss Library hanging out, enjoying watching all of the soap opera level action. But Aki has no time for that. She approaches Sotome, asking her what she sees in him anyway. But Sotome says he's cool, kind, and always protects her, which we all know how that went. Aki reminds Sotome of that time, too, back in the computer room where he ran away, leaving Sotome to die by a vengeful spirit. This snaps Sotome out of her devastation, taking Aki's bat and giving Toma a fate similar to the one she had, which all I can say is good for her. Aki is returned again to the other world, a baby laying in front of Satome's grave. So, Misao is done, right? All three souls have been saved, allowing them to be reborn. But now a new path is opened. Aki has to see this all the way through. Venturing forward, Aki is warned that the spirit of the man who killed Misao is sealed up ahead. Aki goes forward anyway, finding the separated grave. In front of it, Aki finds Ayaka's hairpin, leading to another flashback, this time from when Ayaka was rummaging through Kurata's desk in the other world. In the lowest drawer, Ayaka finds a severed hand, Misao's hand. Ayaka is distressed, wondering why Kurata would have such a thing in his desk. Of course, this is when Kurata comes into the staff room, telling Ayaka not to touch the hand. He slaps Ayaka across the face, like we couldn't hate him more, and picks up the hand, so happy that it's still safe and sound. It hasn't even decomposed at all, even though it's been 3 months. So Kurata has kept Misao's hand since he murdered her 3 months ago, keeping it in his desk as a trophy. But now that Ayaka has seen Kurata's secret, he can't let her live. Ayaka runs for her life, but Kurata chases after her, catching her in the infirmary. This is when Aki enters in the main game, stopping Kurata temporarily. Unfortunately, Ayaka is too stricken with fear to say anything, and Aki didn't understand what was truly happening, thinks that Ayaka had been attacked by a monster. And, in a way, Aki was right. She just didn't understand the monster was right in front of both of them. When Aki leaves to get the tranquilizer, Kurata finishes the job. To make it look like Ayaka's murder was because of a monster attack, Kurata also injures himself. Ironically enough, this is what helps Aki finish off Kurata later in the main game. Returning to the other world, Aki apologizes to Ayaka for not realizing the truth, but she also wonders why Misao's body never decomposed. Onigawara's voice calls out, telling Aki it is because of Misao's curse. Misao wanted to live so badly, she used the power of the curse to live on, even with her body in pieces. Aki then touches Kurata's grave, if nothing else, to understand why Kurata would do so many heinous things to the students who trusted him. Aki is transported to Kurata's house. On his desk is a computer, which is open to his journal. Kurata writes about how he enjoyed being loved by everyone, being such a popular teacher at school, until he realized they didn't actually love him. They loved the mask he put on at school. A flashback reveals Kurata overhearing Ayaka and 2 of her friends discussing Kurata, talking about how mysterious and handsome he is. Ayaka is lucky to have him as her homeroom teacher, meaning she sees him more during the school day than her friends. Kurata runs away, missing the girls' discussion on how he has such a great personality as well, and how he's got more to him than just his looks. Kurata runs to the bathroom to throw a tantrum about how everyone only appreciates his face and how handsome he is, and not how he truly is. Kurata says his students are too stupid to see that his face isn't his real face, which we'll see isn't the case. Aki returns to Kurata's house, seeing Kurata standing in front of a bookshelf. When Aki approaches, he disappears, but in his place is a school yearbook. Opening it, Aki finds an old photo of Kurata, who looks different than his current appearance. Another flashback takes us back to when Kurata himself was a student. As he walks down the hall at school, faceless students bully and mock him. Later in class, he tries to return a handkerchief to a classmate who dropped it, but she screams that she doesn't want it anymore, because Kurata touched it. Kurata runs out of the classroom, devastated that everyone is so cruel to him. Aki returns to Kurata's house again. This time, a young Kurata is in front of the door. When Aki walks up to him, he leaves the room, leading Aki to follow him to a long hallway. The door she came through transforms into a locker, just like the one that held Misao's broken phone. Walking down the long hallway, Aki finds adult Kurata, who screams in anger that he won't let people continue to reject him. Kurata starts walking towards Aki, and she runs away, hiding in the locker at the end of the hallway. Time passes and Aki exits the locker. Back in Kurata's house, laying curled in a ball, sleeping, is an orange cat. This starts another flashback, showing how a young Kurata found an orange cat sleeping in a box on the side of the street. The cat is hurt, so Kurata takes it to an animal hospital, where he learns the cat's injuries are too severe and the cat can't be saved. Kurata is devastated yet again. He makes a grave for the little cat, putting a flower on the top of the dirt mound. Kurata sits in front of the grave, apologizing for finding the cat too late. If only he had been faster, maybe the cat could have lived. Another flashback takes us back to behind Kurata's school, where again he is being bullied. When the bullies finally get bored and leave, one of Kurata's classmates, a girl named Takano, approaches Kurata, asking if he's alright and if she could sit with him. Kurata is flustered, but he accepts, and Takano and Kurata sit together in silence. While battling his internal turmoil, Kurata notices Takano's hands, mentioning how pretty they are. Takano breaks the silence, saying how much she likes the place they are at. It's peaceful and quiet. Takano also apologizes for not stepping in when Kurata was being bullied. She then asks if they can eat lunch together every day. Kurata tries to talk her out of it, worried she'll be bullied for hanging out with him, but Takano is not bothered by it. She's not going to run away anymore, just because it's always easier. Instead, she's determined to protect Kurata. Kurata turns down Takano's offer to protect him though, worried he'll only get bullied more if she does. Okay, she agrees, but she'll always be there if he ever needs a hand. Kurata is ecstatic. He's finally found someone who accepts him. Back in Kurata's house, a young Kurata details what happened after that day. They continued to meet every day for lunch, eating together, but not saying a word. Kurata didn't mind though. With her, he was at ease, even happy. As time passed, Kurata fell more and more in love with Takano, saying, "I loved her hands, and her voice, and her smile." Kurata decides to confess to Takano, so he grabs her hands, confessing he loves her. She tries to pull away, but Kurata holds tight. Finally, Takano frees herself, stepping away as she calls Kurata a creep. Takano seems to catch herself, apologizing, but the damage is done. Kurata is incensed. The one person who accepted him doesn't actually accept him at all. Takano explains that she never approached Kurata with those types of intentions. She just pitied him. Takano tells Kurata it's best if they don't meet for lunch anymore. Kurata doesn't take the rejection well, spiraling as he wonders why everyone rejects him. He can't handle another person rejecting him. Kurata leaps at Takano, grabbing her and suffocating her. Kurata screams at her as she struggles. Takano cries for help, and luckily a teacher hears her, tearing Kurata off of Takano. Kurata screams while tears run down his face. The screen fades to black. We return to Kurata's home yet again, and a young Kurata asks Aki, as she thinks he's disgusting too. Aki doesn't answer as he goes through a door and walks down a long hallway. Aki follows, and at the end of the hall is adult Kurata, stabbing the dead body of Misao. He asks why no one accepts him as he continues to stab Misao. He thought if he changed his face, everyone would accept him, and Kurata was right. Everyone did accept him, but he felt everyone only accepted him because of his new face. The joy of being welcomed by everyone quickly wore off, because Kurata felt that everyone only accepted his face, not him. Kurata is so deeply insecure from his school days, he can't see that people don't just see his face. It's a shame that Kurata is so deeply entrenched in pitying himself that he never tried to get help. Instead, he became a teacher so he could try to relive his high school days and redo it. And that he was horribly bullied in school and knew how awful it felt, but didn't try to help Misao but instead hurt her and killed her is beyond me. And of course, instead of realizing what he's done, he blames Misao and all the other people who supposedly only saw his face, not, in his words, his real appearance. Aki corrects Kurata finally, telling him how everyone would say how kind and reliable he was. Everyone liked him as a teacher, not just as an attractive person. Even Aki likes that he can be kind when he's not, strangling people and murdering his students. Aki, with more empathy than I have, hugs Kurata, telling him not to be sad. Everyone loved him as their kind teacher. Adult Kurata turns into young Kurata, who sobs as Aki holds him. Aki returns to the other world. The orange cat is sleeping in front of Kurata's grave, happy someone cared for it in its final moments. But there's one more person Aki has to save. One last person who hasn't truly been able to move on. Misao. Onigawara speaks to Aki one last time, giving her a hand mirror before Aki goes to speak to Misao. While Onigawara isn't quite convinced Aki's decision is the best one, she pushes forward anyway. To Aki's surprise, the grave in front of her is Toma's, not Misao's. Aki figures it out quickly though. The Misao we saw at the end of the main story was Misao, not a figment of Aki's imagination. Misao was haunting Toma as a way to bring him back to the other world. He didn't escape punishment, he only stalled it temporarily. Touching Toma's grave brings us to a dark space. Misao sits with an unconscious Toma's head on her lap. Misao warns Aki to stay away. She let Aki free everyone else, but she won't let Toma go. Misao hates Toma for all that he put her through, but she still can't let go of the part that loves him as well. Instead of letting Toma go, Misao offers to let Aki stay. She knows the three of them would be so happy together, but we all know that's not actually true. Toma is a vain coward. He'd never accept Misao, or staying in the dark world forever. And, as if to prove it, Toma wakes up, sitting up and looking around. He screams in fright at the sight of Misao, calling her a monster before he runs off. Misao is heartbroken. How could Toma call her a monster? But like Kudo and Kurata, Misao has tricked herself into not seeing reality for what it is. Sometimes, reality can feel impossible to face, but the alternative is so much worse. Misao doesn't seem to notice her appearance has changed. Aki holds up the mirror from Onigawara, and Misao looks at herself in the mirror. She can't believe it. The once soft, kind expression on her face is gone, replaced with a grim, deathly pale expression. Blood runs down her eyes as if they were tears. This is what Misao's hatred has made her into. But Misao can't understand why all this has happened to her. She wasn't a bad person. She just wanted to live a full life, spending time with someone who loved her, not forced to face the darkness alone. Misao thought Toma would be that person, but it's Aki who has always stayed by Misao's side, even now. Aki hugs Misao, telling her she'll stay with her, because she's her friend and that's what friends do. Aki's kindness and friendship turn Misao back into her human self, and Aki promises to stay with Misao forever. With one last fade to black, Misao thanks Aki. Aki then wakes up back in her classroom. It's dusk, and Aki is alone. She wonders if all that was just a dream, but when Aki looks up, "Thank you" is written in chalk on the blackboard. Aki realizes that it wasn't a dream, and tells Misao she will never forget her. Okay, but I'm sure you're wondering what happened to Toma. Well, as the credits roll, we see Toma got lost in the Black World. Eventually, he finds Onigawara and Miss Library, who take him back to the other world. Together, they all go to the infirmary and revive Ayaka, who has completely moved on from Kurata to now have a crush on Onigawara. Ayaka and Toma help Miss Library take care of the reincarnated babies of Yoshino, Kudo, and Saotome. Now, I'm sure you're thinking that a school in another world filled with monsters isn't the best place to raise a bunch of babies. But remember that the school was filled with monsters and fell apart after Misao placed her curse. Before, while I'm sure the school wasn't wonderful, it didn't have hazards everywhere. While not the ideal place to raise the babies, I'm sure between everyone, they will make it work. We leave with Aki staring out at the world from the school's rooftop. Okay, but a key question was left out. Who is Miss Library? And why does she play such an important role in the story? Her and the mad scientist both play a role in Aki and her twins' creation, so let's explore that. But before I do, there are major spoilers ahead for this creator's other game, Mad Father. I will be making a video about it, but if you don't want to be spoiled, here's your warning. Let's begin with where the story truly starts, the mad scientist. Sometime in the early 1900s, the mad scientist created a little girl in his lab to be a daughter for him and his wife. He mixed demon blood with the cells of a dead little girl. The little girl he created was so much like a healthy and cheerful child, he felt like she truly was his daughter. and the rare outbursts she had he contributed to her demon blood. Otherwise, she was a happy bookworm. However, his daughter began to become absent-minded and sullen, and the scientist worried she was beginning to miss her mother who had died. Eventually, an accident in the lab caused all of his other experiments to escape, killing anyone unlucky enough to be in their way. The only one who escaped was the scientist's daughter. However, in her trials to survive and find out what happened, she discovers that she isn't a human, but instead a creation from a lab. Aya knew that her father was doing horrific experiments in the basement, but she had no idea she was one of them. The truth devastates her, but she refuses to give up on living. She escapes, killing her father and fleeing her home. Years pass, and the little girl grows up into a woman. Wanting to right the wrongs of her father, she opens up a clinic. However, a note in the library tells us how that ended, particularly the puppeteer's lullaby. It says, in 19XX, a woman opened a clinic. I wanted to save this world from the nightmare of suffering, she said. That was her desire. Yet this desire slowly became warped. Childhood memories at her heart, awakening desires that had slumbered within. The book's description says, it's a book based on a serial killer from Germany. So his daughter became a serial killer, just like her father. She couldn't forget the suffering she went through, and the hope to better the world became corrupted, waking up the blood thirst that came with her demonic blood. But how does this connect to Miss Library? Well, you may have put it together, but Miss Library is a mad scientist's daughter. This game even hints at it when Miss Library asks you to give her a new name. You can try to call her Aya, her real name, but she won't let you, saying only her father can call her that. You can also find Aya's hair bow that she wears in Madfather on her nightstand in the room. Okay, but how did Miss Library and her father get to the other world then? They lived in the real world, and at least her father died in the real world. So how'd they get here? Well, I think this is tied directly to Onigawara. Onigawara is a demon with supernatural powers. He even brought Ayaka back from the dead. What would stop him from bringing Aya's father to the other world? But why would he do this? What would drive Onigawara to bring Aya's father back to this world and let the scientist continue his experiments, even going so far as to create Aya again in this other world? Well, I think the scientist hints at this in a note he wrote. He states that his friend Onigawara was interested to see if demons and humans could coexist. That could be why he brought Aya's father to the other world. Aya's a demon, and she was able to live as one, but maybe Onigawara wanted to experiment more. So he brought the one person who could successfully create demons, Aya's father, to this world, and gave him a lab where he could create more human-like demons. That's how Aki and Akito, her twin, were created. The scientists originally made them to be friends for Aya, who is lonely in this world, but Onigawara's goal was also met. But he didn't have Aya? She was a demon that coexisted with humans, but Aya became a serial killer, succumbing to her demonic urges. Aki and Akito were different. Aki was able to go to the human world, make friends, and thrive. While I'm not exactly sure why Aki and Akito couldn't go to the human world together, it seems that Onigawara has an interest in the world of the living, as he calls it, and has an interest in humans in general. This is why he brought Aya's father to the other world, and why Onigawara allowed him to continue his creations. Whether he does it for curiosity or something deeper, I don't know. Onigawara is a bit of a mystery. But that's all I have for this video. Keep an eye out, because a video about Madfather, the creator's other game, that is kind of a prequel to this game, will be coming soon. As always, thanks for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and maybe even share this video to a friend. Until next time, take care,